Podcasts are hot right now. How do I know? Well, you're listening to one right now, aren't you? But you might be wondering, how on earth do I get my voice out there and start my own podcast? It all seems so intimidating. Between hosting and platforms and monetization, it can get real complicated real quick. Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We started this podcast over 2 years ago, not knowing clue one on how to do it. So how do we do it? We did it with Anchor. Anchor is the free podcast app with creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on all the platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And everybody likes money, right? Well, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go right now, download the free Anchor app, or go to Anchor FM to get started. It's the E-Commerce Minute, your daily dose of e-commerce, tech, and retail news with your hosts, Bart Mraz and John Suter. The E-Commerce Minute is a production of SUMO Heavy, a digital commerce consulting firm in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. Find us on the web at sumoheavy.com. It's E-Commerce Minute, episode 593.
In today's episode, hackers can use lasers to control your Amazon or Google devices.
Frickin' lasers. We use laser pointers to play with cats or to irritate classmates and teachers in school, and sometimes we eventually even actually point at things. But there's a dark side to these seemingly innocent gadgets. Cybersecurity researchers have recently found that your home devices can actually be hacked using frickin' lasers. It all started in the spring of last year when cybersecurity researcher Takeshi Sugawara walked into the lab of Kevin Fu, a professor he was visiting at the University of Michigan, to show him a trick he had discovered. What he discovered was that if you point a high-powered frickin' laser at the microphone of an iPad, the iPad converted the laser's light into an electrical signal, just as it would with sound. A few months later, University of Michigan and University of Electrocommunications in Tokyo scholars honed that photoacoustic quirk into something even more disturbing. They can now use lasers to silently speak to any computer that receives human commands, including smartphones, Amazon Echo speakers, Google Homes, and Facebook Portal video chat devices. Ugh. The spy trick lets them send light commands from hundreds of feet away. They can even open garages, make online purchases, and cause other issues for users. Since many voice command systems don't require authentication, attackers wouldn't need a password or a PIN to take over the device with a light command. Instead, they just need to be in the object's line of sight. In one case, they took over a Google Home on the 4th floor of an office building from the top of a bell tower at the University of Michigan, which was over 200 feet away. Theoretically, this glitch can be used to buy things online undetected, operate smart switches in homes, and perform other really creepy invasions of privacy as well. It's safe to say that this is incredibly worrisome and creepy. But have no fear, the researchers suggest that you simply, quote, don't put a voice-activated device in line of sight of your adversary. Your adversary, I guess your neighbors. He says, quote, if they can do so much as see your Echo or Google Home through a window, they can talk to it too. Frickin' lasers.
That made me laugh so hard. Sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads, dude. That's what's going to break into my house.
Of all the things, that's what'll happen to me. It'd be the frickin' laser hacking into my device.
This is just
Lasers, and I mean, they're, most of those devices I think are hackable anyway, right? Like, they're not. I mean, I have an Alexa that's hooked up to the door. To open it, you actually have to give it like a password. But other than that,
it begs the question that if you just leave your device out, what's to stop someone from walking in your house and ordering things, right?
This is true.
Some joker comes in and says, hey, order 15 pounds of horse meat, and they just deposit to your account. I mean, what's to stop them?
You're giving me ideas.
Yeah, I mean, so I know Alexa, I don't know how Google does it, but I know Alexa, you can set it to just your voice. Like
right.
Your own voice, right? So you can
right. We're making jokes, but there is a level of security, right?
Yes, there is. There's some level of it, but it's interesting that they can do it with just laser beams.
Yeah, and they tested not only just an Echo or a Google Home, they did it with Alexa, Siri, Facebook Portal, Google Assistant, including the devices Google Home, Echo Dot, Fire Cube, Google Pixel, Samsung Galaxy, iPhone, and iPad. They successfully leveled their attacks using ordinary freaking laser pointers, laser drivers, a telephoto lens, and even a souped-up flashlight.
Oh my God. Souped Up Flashlight was my nickname in high school.
A souped up Their first album was great.
Oh, I agree.
Ooh.
It was new wave.
And for even more stealth, the researchers suggest that a voice assistant hacker could use an infrared laser, which would be invisible to the naked eye.
That's interesting.
I don't like that.
Technology.
That does not please me.
It's, it's definitely hackable.
I was laughing at how like they warned, like, don't let it inside of your adversary.
Mhm.
Your enemies.
Adversary. That would
Don't
be my
use
neighbor
it.
across the street, but I don't think he's that smart, so I don't have to worry. So at least the one comforting thing is most, like if you're trying to hack an iPhone or an iPad, you've got to wake these devices up either through Touch ID or Face ID first. So that's going to be less of a possibility. But just having your lady in the tube just sitting in the kitchen, order me 10 pounds of horse meat via laser,
Could you imagine trying to dispute that charge on your card too? Like, it did come from my Alexa device,
Sir.
but it wasn't me.
Sir, you did order this horse meat.
I did not. Sir, it's okay. Just admit it. You like horse
Sir,
meat. It's fine.
You ordered a case of the combo cans, half horse meat, half corned beef hash. You do it all the time. Yes.
Is it like a movie scene or something like that? Like somebody orders like bad videos from somebody's account or something like that. There's like a whole scene.
It sure sounds like it.
Right?
All right. Well, sleep tight. Sleep tight, everyone, and then get your devices away from your windows. In the meantime, we're going to tell you about today's sponsor. Brittany, who is today's sponsor?
Us.
Us.
Us. What?
Do tell. You don't say.
It is us. Did you know that Sumo Heavy has a weekly newsletter?
No.
You heard that correctly. Sumo Heavy actually publishes a weekly newsletter filled with our latest blog posts, commerce news, tips, as well as e-commerce events, some bits and bobs that we enjoy as people. We've also got a feature called Our Latest Obsession, which is our one favorite thing we found on the internet that week. For instance, this week, we talk about the dogs. And by dogs, I mean, who let the damn dogs out?
Oh, geez.
So there's a brewery that puts photos of shelter dogs on their beer cans in order to help them get adopted in Fargo.
Aww.
That's pretty cool, right?
Aww.
I thought that was really cool.
Oh, cue that. Oh.
Yeah, right. It's a good idea. If I can get drunk and do it in the presence of a pupper on my can, that would be fun.
Although I gotta say that's a good thing. Get drunk and you're definitely gonna adopt a dog.
That's very true. That's very true.
That's true. They need to put beer taps in animal shelters. I think that would increase adoption rate.
So get in the know and join our other super smart subscribers. Head on over to bit.ly/Sumo Heavy newsletter. You can subscribe and also read all of our past issues.
Don't get left out. All the cool kids are doing it. Subscribe. Go now. bit.ly/Sumo Heavy newsletter. Go there now. We'll close out this wonderful episode of Frickin' Lasers with a little snap time. 41% of voice assistant users report concerns around trust, privacy, and passive listening. 52%, that's according to Microsoft. 52% of respondents to Microsoft survey said that voice assistant users fear that personal information and data is not secure. And in 2019, it's estimated that 111.8 million people in the use will use a voice assistant at least monthly, up 9.5% from last year. This is equivalent to 39.4% of internet users and 33.8% of the total population, according to eMarketer. And speaking of voice devices and voice commerce, Sumo Heavy this year put out a survey regarding the current state and future of voice commerce. It basically explores voice assistant adoption, its frequency of use, and the impact of voice-enabled technology on the future of e-commerce. If this is something that interests you, head on over to voicecommercesurvey.com for a free download. Go check it out. It's free, it's wonderful, and it'll tell you all the juicy dirt about voice devices and voice commerce. You guys got anything else to add?
No.
Nope.
Bart, freaking lasers?
Lasers.
Watch out for those freaking lasers, everyone.
Blazers.
Watch out for the lasers and blazers. All right, that's your e-commerce minute for today. We'll see you on the internet tomorrow. That's it for today's show. If you like the show, do us a favor and subscribe, or leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget, you can now listen to the E-Commerce Minute on your Amazon device. Just add E-Commerce Minute to your flash briefing. And finally, if you have a comment or suggestion, or just want to say hi, find us on social media at SUMO Heavy.